I'd just like to take a few moments to talk about the New York Times, because this is an issue that truly makes my blood boil. The idea that a newspaper can compromise my safety and the security of this country by divulging details of a top-secret terrorist tracking program by splashing it on the cover of their publication is truly mind-boggling. Just when I thought the New York Times could sink no lower, they decide to dabble in outright treason. First of all, there was no reason whatsoever to print that story. The only thing it accomplished was blowing the cover of a highly successful anti-terror program. There was nothing about it that exuded even a whiff of scandal. The program was legal, effective, and it had strong bipartisan support. And according to the Times itself, the program was proven vital in apprehending international terrorists. One of the excuses for going ahead with the story was that the administration's objections were half-hearted. Half-hearted? Several members of the administration, Senate, and Congress, including 9/11 Commission Vice Chair Lee Hamilton and Representative John Murtha, who is hardly a friend of the Bush administration, begged the Times not to expose this classified program. Responding to justified public outrage, Time executive editor Bill Keller released his own snippy statement defending his decision to print the article, saying, "We remain convinced that the administration's extraordinary access to this vast repository of international financial data, however carefully targeted of use it may be, is a matter of public interest." So Bill is telling us that despite the fact that there is no evidence whatsoever that the government has ever abused its access to this information, and even though the program carefully safeguards civil liberties, he just wants to sell more papers. Now sophisticated terrorists will figure out how to evade capture through this program. So, the New York Times directly provided information to aid terrorists. According to U.S. statute, the Times is guilty of treason. Freedom of the press, my ass. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. People should be responsible for the words that come out of their mouths, especially when those words compromise the safety of millions of people. There is zero accountability in the press these days, and that has got to stop now. The person or persons responsible for feeding information to the paper in the first place absolutely need to be prosecuted under the full penalty of law, and everyone involved in printing that story should be fired and publicly shamed at the very least. In my opinion, the majority of the blame for this rests on the shoulders of men like Bill Keller on the editorial board of the Times. So I would just like to take the time to send a personal message to these men. Since you're more concerned with trashing the Bush administration than protecting American lives, how about we hold you and your paper liable for the next terrorist attack on U.S. soil? So people that lose loved ones in the attacks that were made possible by your irresponsible dumbasses can sue and bankrupt you and your crappy paper. Because of your choice to repeatedly publish classified information, you have aided terrorists and put all Americans at risk. This is coming from a paper whose offices are 5 miles away from where 3,000 Americans were slaughtered on September 11th. You claim to represent New York and that you have your readers' best interests at heart, and yet you're paving the way for the next September 11th. So, have fun sleeping at night, you're a bunch of despicable criminals, and you all deserve to rot in prison. My name's Heather Milliken, and liberals suck.